Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything Purity Life. Mm-hmm. I'm Erin Macklin.
And I'm Julie Drapeau.
And today we're going to go through our regular weekly check-ins. Mm-hmm. We're going to speak with Bruce Cole of CNHR, and then we'll close it off with some new to Purity Life.
It's exciting.
So, what's been going on with you this week?
Oh, just came back from a town called Ogden.
Ogden.
Yes, and it's in Utah. And we were there because one of our brand, well, we have a couple of brands there, but we just came back from visiting Trace Minerals.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I don't want to say too much about it. Very exciting because we're going to have a podcast also to share some information about all the, the lake and everything and where the minerals are coming from.
Well, because it's very important. The location is key to their business, right?
Absolutely. So
just a little hint.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a little portion of my week. So, when we think about our guests coming, Bruce Cole.
Yes.
I was thinking back about, how did I meet with Bruce? And so I have a little bit about it, but I was curious about you. How did you get in
I'm probably one of the very few that doesn't have some big story about meeting Bruce Cole, because I think that everybody in the industry has some Bruce stories. Been around for so long, he's done so many things. For me, it's just been within work. So within advertising, working with some of our brands, working with Purity Life. Yeah, we've had lots of coverage there. How about you?
Well, for me, and I was trying to find the date or the timeline, and I can't. I'll have to go back. I guess my memory is shortened, and I can't remember. But you remember I did a book called Abacadabra?
Oh, yes.
So Bruce was helping in editing the book.
That's right.
And I would say that for me, he always been a big supporter. Yeah. And being the little Quebecer me coming French speaking. Yeah. And I had all these ideas in my head, and Purity wanted us to have a book on, how to help stores to better merchandise and
so it was Haba Cadabra. It was all about how to merchandise your Haba and succeed there.
But as you know, I'm a big idea person, so ideas are just floating. Yeah. But to put them in a book, and especially to sit myself and just go and write something was quite challenging, I would say. But Bruce was so helpful. He could exactly capture my thoughts. Yeah. So I was writing something, and he was always able to come back and say, "Did you mean this, Julie? And what about this?" Yeah. And it was always so much better. It was exactly what I've envisioned that I couldn't really put in really clear in the writing. Yeah. So I would say that for me, he has been always believing in me as well when I started in the industry, and a big cheerleader. So definitely Bruce Cole has been, very helpful, and one of the person that really helped me in my career. So I was very excited that we were able to have him with us for podcast today.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a really fun one. I think he's just so lovely.
Yeah, so let's go with the interview with Bruce Cole.
So thanks so much for coming, Bruce. We're very excited to have you.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I feel like I'm with old friends because I am with old friends.
That's right.
Yes, we're absolutely excited to have you with us. And for those who are listening or watching, can you bring us back a little bit on how did you came into being in this industry, and then when you got into having CNHR as your magazine?
Well, I my background is journalism. I studied journalism, so I always worked in corporate communication or community newspapers. So I've really a writer. That was my start. Back in the mid-'90s, I was editing a plumbing and heating magazine, which is a really worthwhile cause, but I just couldn't get into it, right? I just couldn't get into low-flush toilets and the new refrigerants and all that stuff, and I really tried. But so the gentleman I was working for, I said, I've got to get out of here. I can't do this anymore. He said, "What do you want to do?" I went, "I don't know, but I know it's not this." And I remember the word, I said, "I got to find something I'm passionate about."
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And that was the word. And I don't think I'd ever used that word before, but at that age, I went, okay, I got to find something. Yeah. There was a job opening at CHFA as a trade show manager. I applied for the job.
No kidding.
Bill Reynolds was the executive director. He looked at my resume. You write too? I said, I've got lots of trade.
Plumbing and heating.
Trade show. Yeah, it's pretty boring, but So that's how I landed at CHFA. I think because I had a lot of trade show experience, and also I was a writer, and Bill saw maybe there's a crossover there. So that's how I landed in the industry.
Okay. Oh, wow. And then how long did you do that for? And how did that connect you into your current position?
Well, it kind of happened. The idea for CNHR was born at a CHFA show.
Okay.
In fact, I hadn't been hired yet. I went to the Vancouver show in 1995. Bill said, come on out and check us out before we hire you. Check us out, we'll check you out. I went to a seminar by a guy called Danny Wells, who was a retail leader. Danny's retired now, but I went into the room to hear him speak, and he absolutely captured the room. The retailers were on the edge of their chairs with pens, writing down all the information about square footage and where you place stuff on shelves, positioning, marketing, branding. It was all this stuff about inside your little store.
Yeah.
And I was captivated by the audience. Just they were fascinated with Danny. And I remember that hit me. I said, these people here in the room, the retailers, need more of this.
Right.
They need more of this business information because they're not getting it. They're getting product information, but they're not getting business skills.
Right.
So Danny was giving them a little of both, and I remember thinking, that's an idea for a mag. I worked at CHFA for about a year and a half before finally going out on my own and starting CNHR. So that's it in a nutshell.
That was it. That's not even very long to be in the industry before starting a magazine.
No, but I really felt it was needed.
Yeah.
And I talked to people, and in fact, I approached CHFA when I worked there. We should start a magazine.
Yeah.
But the idea, for whatever reason, wasn't accepted, and I get it.
Yeah.
CHFA is not in the publishing business, so so that's it. That's in a nutshell.
And I talked a little bit earlier when before we have you on the interview live here about how you helped on even like the book I wrote, Habakadabra, Back in Time, and how you're so good at capturing thoughts and bringing back to really what was the information that should be shared for retailers. And so you have really that innate way of seeing, and now I understand like where you already out of the gate saw the opportunity in that missing spot that there's a lot of knowledge in supplements and training in that side, but to how to deal with the business and merchandise and all that. So was it something with CNHR that you really pushed and that was your goal with the magazine, to really inform more retailers, right? So.
Yeah. And Julie, even you as an example, I remember meeting you at a trade show in Quebec.
Yeah.
And my friend Dean Parks mentioned, Julie's from Quebec and you were a champion of health and beauty. And there was nobody like that in Canada at the time within our trade.
Yeah.
And I remember approaching you and saying, I would love you to share some of the stuff in your head.
Right.
And because it's all there. We just got to get it out. And I think you were a little apprehensive because the French English thing.
Yes.
But I went, that's the easy part. The hard part is all this stuff you've accumulated and how we're going to communicate. So we did that for a number of years. And that was a lot of fun working.
Yes.
And then the book was, felt it was kind of an extension of that. When you decided to do a book and asked me if I'd help you, I went, I'm flattered and honored, and it's just a continuation of what we were already doing. So I thought that was kind of easy, really.
Well, because you have that talent, and that's what I want the listener to really. I know that most people know you and they know about your how good you are with that, but it's really a talent that you have in taking what people have in their head, or even when you visit store, and the way you can really capture the essence. And you're an amazing writer. So you're definitely in your genius in there in doing that. And definitely you've helped the industry greatly, because without you, I think that this knowledge and that need of being better and how to do business and how to develop, in the beauty area, not just the beauty, but you definitely help to push that. And it's such a big category in the industry now. So, thank God you moved from the plumber kind of writing to
we're all better for it. The whole industry is better for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you say that because you transition now, so now you're doing, can you talk to us about, from CNHR, where you transition and what you're doing currently?
Yeah, well, we started CNHR in 97, my wife and I, and Donna looked after mostly the business end of it, and I was doing the other side of it, which is what I kind of trained for. So, and then in 2000, we were really, because of the economy, because of the way print is going, because of a lot of things, we were going to, we were at retirement age. We were going to just quietly fold CNHR up. And because it was kind of coming to the end for a whole bunch of reasons, and then. We were acquired by the Alive Group. It was a great conversation with Ryan Ben about, I understand you're thinking of, folding CNHR. And what if you come over here and we take a bunch of stuff off your plate? And, Alive is, Alive's been around forever and was equipped to take on a lot of the things. So
and saw the value that we all saw, right?
Well, I think when we came over with CNHR, it was a piece that Alive has multiple publications. I always felt mostly focused on consumer, which is vital.
Yes.
And there was this was just something new for them.
That was their gap at that time to be able to fill with this great magazine. Yeah.
And Ellen Wheeler and I have been friends forever.
Yes, Ellen's wonderful too.
So that was really easy. And it really didn't feel that much different going over to work with the Alive people because we're very like-minded. And and it was, that was pretty easy, really. It was an easy transition. Myself, I'm slowing down a bit, but I'm not out. I'm still writing. I'm still going to events, and I'm still plugged in. Still, even driving here today, I was on the phone with a couple people from the industry just catching up. And I hope I can do that for a long time still.
Yeah. Why not? Why not, right? When you've got that passion and that drive, then you keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a fascinating industry. It's just loaded with great people and lots of energy. And like as someone once said to me, it seems like there's a new product popping up every 10 minutes.
It's true. It's true.
Yes.
And going back to the plumbing, heating, air conditioning side, that's a very mature industry. Right. There wasn't as much innovation and product development that was earth-shattering. It seems like this industry is just every time you turn around, you get hit in the head with a new product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you're still in this industry, when we are thinking of, slowing down and retiring, there must be definitely something. What is the thing in your job that you say that's what I'm still doing it? Because you could, I know you're a musician, you could have retired, relaxed, do your music, but there's something that is keeping you in that flame. What is it?
Yeah, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's the people, right? There's nothing like this industry. I mean, I've been in other industries, and there's nothing like this. My first CHFA trade show, I was in Vancouver. I hadn't been hired yet.
Yeah.
I came home, and my wife said, "What do you think?" And I've said this before. I said, "I found my people."
Yeah.
I found them.
You just knew. Yeah.
It's like, as my friend Jennifer Grant went, "You found your tribe." Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's like we're a little group of people that very like-minded, and I'm thankful. That was not 30 years ago, but almost 30 years ago. So
that's fantastic.
So it has been about 30 years. How have you found that the way that you've worked with CNHR and the way that you've communicated and handed that information to retailers, how has that changed over that time?
Well, it hasn't in a way.
No?
Because I just have to try to keep up with the innovations. The retail, traditional health food stores, when I started, CNHR was more grassroots, and now it's, as we all know, it's really evolved with technology and things. And I'd love to see the second and third generation come into the stores, and we all know the owners and of the founders, and their kids are in, and they brought some things that their parents didn't have, which was great. And that's one of the reasons we started CNHR, to help these passionate people who know so much about natural health to adopt more business skills, new things, new technologies. And the next generation has really helped speed that up. Like I think of Matt Holtman in Winnipeg with VitaHealth. He's third generation. His grandfather started the business in 1936. And it's still in the family, and that's, I mean, I'm sure Matty could have done other things, but he picked this industry and Maddie's probably been doing it almost 20 years full time now, and the guys in Ottawa, the the Cardiff brothers, and Sebastian and Paula in Montreal.
That's amazing.
And Jason at the Peanut Mill. There's just so many second, third generation.
And I feel like you know every one of them.
Well, I spent a lot of time going to stores and traveling Canada. And
I think that's such a big piece of what you do, is that you make those connections, those in-person connections. You're always traveling, you're always meeting up with those people. And I think that's how you're able to kind of give what you give in CNHR. That's what makes it so relatable and such great information, because we can all kind of, what we get to experience is exactly what you're experiencing in person. And you're so good at taking that and being able to kind of present that in a way that we're like, oh yeah, like this is my tribe, these are my people, right? And this is what they're doing. So you can kind of take that and learn from it and adapt from what you're able to offer after all of your visits and trips.
And everybody can learn from everyone. We all know that. And even the smallest stores have the great ideas. So. And it's always about the stores, make the stores the star of the mag. And Julie, when you were writing it, it's always about, let's find fantastic leaders in our industry and get them writing in CNHR. Let's find stores that are leading and pushing the envelope, even if they're small stores. They don't have to be big. Because we're all learning from each other. So it's always been about make the industry the star of CNHR. It's always been, and I sort of kind of like being in the background about it, I mean, as much as I can be in the background.
Yeah, they've definitely succeeded with that through the years, and it's true that the industry has changed with years. There's like big groups that are out there, new type of doors post-COVID that have opened. But it's great to have somebody like you that really focus as well on those smaller retailers and the history behind it, like the story that those stores that have built that made us who we are today.
Exactly.
So, and you're very very good at putting them first. It's not, hey, I'm Bruce, the writer of CNHR, editor, and then there's a little story. We never feel that, and I think that's why that authenticity that always made you so successful, and people that cherish you in the industry. That's for sure. So that's very, very good, and thank you for that.
No, thank you.
You've done so many issues. Is there anything looking back that that was a great issue, that was my favorite issue, really loved that one? Is there anything that you've done that really stands out for you that you recall as being a big one?
It's funny because I was just talking to Serge a minute ago, and he showed me a copy of an issue from 2016. And I thought, I love that store I went to. That was a great store. And I was really happy with that photo I took. And Serge said, the lighting was good. I said, that's exactly it. And so we started talking about it.
You guys, that.
It's almost like I open any issue and go, oh man, that was so cool. I'd drive in, and
souvenirs.
So no,
you've got a whole history. Every issue is your own history of what you've done and what you've created.
Well, and inadvertently, I've kind of chronicled the industry the last 25 years, like advances and developments and stuff, like even wacky things. Like I've done a lot of traveling with Dean Parks.
Yes. We did podcasts together.
We did the but if I'm going somewhere, I say, Parksy, I'm going to go to Quebec. Do you want to go? Yeah. So one time we were in.
That's cool.
Saskatchewan, and I was going to go see Lovey, who has a store in Saskatoon. And Lovey's, I don't think it's 50 years, but it's pretty close to 50 years now. So I told her I'm coming out. I'm trying to take photos in her store, and she's just not comfortable. I said, Lovey, I got to get this photo. What are we doing here? She goes, I'm just not comfortable. I said, well, where are you comfortable? She said, I'm comfortable on my farm with my horse.
There you go.
So we piled in the truck and drove out to her farm. And Lovey was so relaxed and comfortable and petting her horse. And she goes, I give this horse lots of supplements, and that's why it's so. And that became the cover photo. And we're out in a farm covered in mud. And just the cloud cover was perfect. Everything was perfect, So
that's,
it's like every issue, there's a great memory of, it's like building blocks, just, I don't know if that answered your question.
But. It's like connecting. Really, you have the way to really connect with people, and I think that's why it's hard to decide which one was the best, because
they're all
the best. It's every person, but I'm finding it so interesting to listen to because it's every piece as well. Like you're doing the writing, but you're doing all the photography. I think at some point, I don't know if you're still doing a lot like layout. Like there's so much of those pieces, especially when you started out. Like that was. You were everything.
Well, in the early days, I was lucky I had the skills. I'd done sales. I'd done newspaper sales from early in my career. And I'd learned how to do computer layout. I used to do like the old cut and paste, like the physical, the physical, take a knife and all that stuff and the steel edge and wax it. Oh yeah, that's from the the Flintstones age, right? But yeah, I was really fortunate that I had all of the little tools to start CNHR. Like I can get it started, and now it's great because working with the Alive group, there's a number of editors that help me clean stuff up, and there's a whole creative department, and I'm working with some great designers who have added their own look and twist to it, which is it's evolving. A whole new world.
It's opened up other doors.
And like I always say to my friends at Alive, my coworkers, I say, like, I'm old, I'm almost out. You guys are the future. It's yours. And
here's the story, and then make it pretty.
Yeah, clean it up. Please help me if you can make it better. And the editors have helped me so much at Alive, just to take one of my pieces and say, hey, what if we do this? That's much better. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. And I'm sure they're just as fortunate to be working with you. Like I can only imagine the gains that they're getting from working with you and your experience and just your vibe and your aura that they get to experience as well.
I hope so. I think it's
I'm sure.
We all, like I said earlier, we all take away from each other. We all learn from each other. And like I hope they don't think I'm some old guy shaking my fist. Oh, you young kids, you don't know you're doing that. But it's
I can't see that from you at all.
I don't think so. Yeah, no, I think they really appreciate the way that you look at stories and look at the stores and what to really make out of what you see. Like, you're a story creator, and when you have the vision when you go in the store or connect with people, and that's what I think you can't learn that in books.
Yeah,
you have to experience it and look at how somebody else is doing it, because you can give somebody, hey, you have to go and do a story on this, and that could be that picture, as you said, right? You can just say, okay, stand there, well, that's the greatest picture.
Good enough. You have to do.
You pushed it because you really wanted to capture the essence of that person. So I think that the Alive group is absolutely learning from that, and like put that in their little bags and growing into that and creating mastery.
We all share it. And the other thing I always think of is it kind of makes it easy when you think of who's your audience.
Right.
Who are you talking to? And it makes it so easy for me. I'm talking to retailers.
Yes.
So what do retailers want to know?
Yeah.
What do they want to know about this store I'm going to feature?
Yeah.
What are they doing unique? And I've got to bring that out. And I have over the years heard from retailers saying, I was reading your magazine and I got this idea. I hope I said, no, that's the idea.
Yeah.
I always tell her, we're all sharing. Like, we're all going to be better if we can all elevate, if we can all learn from each other. We're not competition. We're all on the same team.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing.
And I think that's something a bit different about this industry, right? Is that everybody is willing to be on the same team and let me share and let other people gain from what we're sharing. It's not, trade secrets, no, only us, right? And I think you're able to bring that out from people too. That makes all the difference.
I hope so. I hope, everybody brings something to the party, right? And I've always felt CNHR is part of the puzzle to making the industry work better. And what you're doing, my history with Purity Life goes back to the beginning, So what Purity Life has always done, and the bigger companies like Natural Factors, what they bring, and the CHFA, there's the Organic Council, everyone's bringing their little piece, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Big evolution. So now let's go into some rapid fire little question.
I think we should.
Yes. Okay.
Bruce, ready for some rapid fire?
No.
We won't be too hard.
We're doing it anyways.
Yeah, we'll warm you up with some. We always like to ask, what was either your favorite or what was your first natural health products that you've used?
I think it was probably Arnica.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife got into natural health before I joined the industry. She worked with a naturopath, and Donna used to bring all this cool stuff in. And I was still playing lots of sports, so I was always smacked up with scars and dislocated stuff. And she said, there's this thing called Arnica. And
trust me, it's good.
Yeah.
It's funny that of all the things, that homeopathy is where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that was the first product that I can recall.
That's great.
That's a good one, definitely.
Yeah. What I'm interested now in, what were the sports that you were doing?
Yeah.
Into my mid-50s, I was playing hockey and slow pitch. I was playing ball and hockey until hockey, when all the young guys started bringing their kids out and they start flying by at 200 miles an hour. That's when I went, I'm out of here. Yeah. I'm having a retirement dinner.
I will not recover from this.
Never.
Yeah, you'll need to bathe in arnica after that.
Yeah, no kidding. All these young, fast guys, like, why am I out here?
Yeah.
Just throw my equipment out and just stay on the bench.
Yeah, and when you look now, even like hockey games, and we were speaking with Bayou Still and their academy they're launching, and they were talking about all the kids that are coming now in those academy, how fast, and now they're using natural product way before time because they know that that how their performance and everything. So yeah, it could be a scary place to be when you see them flying by, and that's
it is. It's like being in Times Square in New York at rush hour. Like you just get crushed.
Any sport that you do now to continue to keep in shape? I know you play music, like you.
And that's really the music thing is really. It's really
your
good
band,
for
right?
Like I'm playing on I've got a little solo thing going one night a week at a little bar on the beach up north. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's so cool.
I won't do a commercial for the
give
surf.
us a plug.
Give us a plug.
Well, going back to when I was going to college, it was between music and journalism.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big dilemma for me. I remember being at my buddy's house looking at the books, and he goes, "Have you made your mind up?" I went,
"Can't do it.
I think I'm going to study journalism." He goes, "Oh, you love music." I went, "I love it too much. I don't want to hate it.
Right.
I don't want to have to show up somewhere every night and play for 4 people at a bar at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
And on a Tuesday night, and start at 9:00. No, that didn't turn me on. So
yeah.
And also, I was a really rotten player, so I wasn't really a great player.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was okay.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. But I always understood it. I always understood it,
right.
and almost every band I've ever played in, I've always been sort of the arranger. Okay, you come in here. Okay, let's try this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can sort of
You're
hear
seeing
it.
it from a
I've always been
different
able
perspective.
to,
It's in your blood.
And I'm still doing it. So I think.
So
it was
where
a
can
good
people see you once a week?
At the Surf Restaurant in Palm Beach, Ontario.
Right. So flood the restaurant, guys.
No. And I play music with my son-in-law.
Yeah.
In the Dr. Bruce Lee band with Dr. James Machino, the world famous chiropractor and author.
Oh yeah.
And Dr. Machino's written tons of health books. He's really been a good influence too on me.
Your guitar, right?
I play the 12-string and I play keyboards and harmonica in this band, and I used to play the bass in another band. So yeah, I've always
talented,
been pretty musical. So
yeah.
But so that's good for fitness because you're up there.
That's what I was. Yeah.
And you're moving, and you're up there for 2 hours, and it's been good
Stamina.
for the brain.
Yep.
Well, to memory, like all of that, it's
so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Am I singing now? Is this my lead? Am I singing harmony? When do I stop the foot pedal? When do I,
Yeah.
It's funny because I was to ask you what would be another career that you would have done. So you would have been a rock star, if I understand that.
Quite possibly, or quite possibly not. One or the other. But
it's pretty.
But you would have tried.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's something that we would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh man, I think maybe I grew up in Toronto, and now we have a farm, so we have horses and chickens and stuff. So I go out every morning and feed the horses, and I think it's happened because some of my friends have come up and said, "I can't believe you're living here."
You're a city guy.
Yeah, feeding horses and covered in manure. And
yeah.
Like I was shoveling manure yesterday into the garden. That's where we are now. My wife pulled up with a tractor. Okay, start, and I'm
nice.
Yeah, and I thought. I think that would freak some of my old friends from growing up in Toronto that I live in a farm and I dress like a farmer. And
did you transition with the natural industry kind of vibe, or that was just because I would say that I see myself, I'm a city person, and going to a farm.
One day you'll be shoveling manure, Julie.
Well, I don't know, but I'm interested in knowing, like, how was that? Was it something that you really like, being like a town guy, and then it's through like what transition? What brought you to being more in the countryside?
I think living in Toronto and driving up north, in my high school years or college years, and go up to the beach, you drive through and see all the farms and.
Yeah.
And I used to wonder, like, I wonder what it's like to live there. Like, I wonder do they have friends? And how do they get to school? How do they? Yeah. And I was always fascinated with it. And my wife grew up on a farm in Nova Scotia. So she used to ride in wagons with her grandfather and, go feed the critters. So we always talked about it. And then when our kids got old enough and they moved out, and we were living in Toronto. We went, this is our big chance.
Right.
So we found this little 5-acre place, and it was just, first thing we did was plant trees. We got a beautiful forest out the back now, because it used to be just an empty field.
Right.
And starting to attract wildlife. Like, I remember a number of years ago, a deer gave birth, so we had a little baby deer running around our property. And remember, that's why we moved up here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you've been there a bit now, right? How long have you been there?
Yeah, 20-something years now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was always something that interested me. Like, I love going to the Royal Winter Fair and smelling the stuff, you know, the animals. And so now we have rescue horses. That's what we've decided to do. Yeah, about 10 years ago, we started to bring in rescue horses. And so, that was, I'm into it, you know. And Donna's been really good at guiding me and telling me
here's
how
what
to
you
be
have
a
to
farm.
do and think
that's the wrong pile of manure. That's a fresher pile. That's from
that's the one you want to move.
That's been fermenting. That's a better one for the garden. So I was throwing it on the vegetable garden yesterday. That's what I was doing. So.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, if you could have a dinner with somebody either in the industry or anyone in the world, who would that be? Being a journalist, I don't know. That's, you know, I thought of a lot of people. Like, one person I thought of that I think about a lot is Siegfried Gersh, who founded Alive and was one of the leaders in forming CHFA and our industry. He was one of the integral guys, and Siegfried passed away, I think, I want to say 2013. It's hard to believe, but he... And I remember having a dinner with him once, but there was other people, and I thought, this is cool. I'm with Siegfried. He was always so supportive when I started CNHR.
Right.
And I always found him at the trade shows to say hi to him, even after he left Alive and he had his Alpha Oil. He started his own company. I always found him and went over and had a couple words with him. He was always a guy I liked and admired, and I've heard so many stories about him. He's a guy that I wish now, looking back, I could have hung out with a bit more.
Yeah.
More time.
And I do think about journalists. I think of a guy like Walter Cronkite, who was around just when radio was really becoming big, and he was one of the first guys on TV, and he covered all the major events. It would be kind of fun to talk to him too.
Yeah.
But
choices.
Really, I don't know.
Yeah,
Other than that,
Good
couple
choices.
thoughts.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Bruce. It was certainly a pleasure for us to have you and to share with everybody a bit of your background and to take the opportunity to thank you for all you've done up to now. And it's not over. We have lots of...
there's plenty more to go.
Yeah, plenty of stories that we want to read from you. And so we're very thankful for your time and driving here to be live with us in studio.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I hope... I mean, it's still fun.
Yes.
I love working with the crew at Alive. They've been great and supportive and very welcoming. And I feel that as long as they'll let me do it, I'll keep doing this and trying to tell all the great stories of our industry.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be lucky to have you and continue
thanks,
to watch and continue to read.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie.
Too many years.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
you.
Bruce. Okay, so now it's time for a little NTPL, as we call it, or New to Purity Life.
Absolutely.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about the new Antipodes gift sets that are going to be coming out for the holiday season.
Yes, and before I talk about, specifically about the Antipodes ones, I just want to remind everybody that seasonality and gift sets are important to have in our stores. Again, there's still not a lot of options in our industry, which every year I'm very hopeful.
Yes.
And we need to really think about it's not just for Christmas or just December, but all year long, we should have in store some gift options.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because in our industry now, people are looking for healthier version of, whatever is on the market right now. So we need to make it easy for them.
Yeah.
And when I used to work at the body shop before, we had, like I talked about that before, different price point. And it's good to have that little area. And what we're going to talk about today is the Antipodes gift box. So what is great with what they've created, and every year they come up with a new kit.
Yes.
Is and we have, for those who are listening right now, we have the box from last year because the new ones are coming, but we don't have them.
We don't have them yet.
Yes. But what is great is basically it gives you like the hydration kit. So it's easy to grab the box, and it's lower price point, so it gets people to try the product. And also, if you look at the box, there's no call out on its Christmas, or it's for Mother's Day, or it's for something like this.
So you can have that in your store year round.
That's it.
Yeah.
And back in time, I mean, I remember 20 years ago, and I'm sure being in the store, you remember that, yes, the stores and the kits, the brands were having specific and call outs on it. And now that we have to be a little bit more, I would say, broader, because not everybody celebrates the same holidays and the same thing.
Well, it also helps us be a little bit more fluid with inventory, right? So as a store, you can bring in a bunch for Christmas. If you've got a few left over, it's not really the end of the world, because gifts can happen all year round.
Yes. And I would even push it. We always try to sell the kit on their own, but for this one, from the Antibodies, for those who are listening, there was the full size moisturizer, there's a smaller size serum, and there's also a small cleanser. So worse comes to worse, you open the box and you can have the real size to be sold on their own.
Yeah.
And create a travel size section and using those smaller products. And that's what we see often in those gift box.
Yeah.
But definitely, to go back to Antibodies, it's also a good way when somebody comes in the store and they don't want to buy a full skincare regimen and they don't want to invest that much. So that's another option on how to use it.
Kind of here, you can try this, so you still have your regime.
Absolutely.
And but all put together for you, all marketed for that your specific need. And
absolutely. Yeah. So check out, because we're going to have a pre-book.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're early July now. We really need to be thinking and getting ready for the holidays. So keep an eye out. We're going to have our holiday gift guide coming out with our pre-book. So you want to get that all planned out now, so you can make sure you've got all the right products come the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And July is honestly not too early. I know that people are thinking, oh God, you're talking about snow or holiday season, in July, but you need to be prepared. It's not a second thought, right?
It's the thinking ahead, right? We're not saying, hey, you need this on your store shelf this month.
That's right.
But you do have to be planning it to make sure that you're going to have it, because you don't want to be too late. This is a season where there's lots of dollars on the table. You want to make sure that you can capitalize, and you have to be ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that is not new to Purity Life, but we want to highlight for you, is the 3-day sales, correct? That is
3-day sales coming up. So July 9 to 11, just a few more days. So watch CustomerLink and watch PurityLife.com, and it's coming up.
Thank you for watching or listening this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and send us your feedback at marketing@PurityLife.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at PurityLifeLProductLP, or myself at JD_girlpower.
Or you can check me out at Erin G. Macklin. And don't forget to check us out next week when we interview Max Marion from Aqua Omega.